morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings on planet Earth, wherever you may be. Avid gardener here reporting from the bathroom. We have 2 bathrooms. God knows what it's like to have 16 bathrooms. The reason I'm in here is because I'm regrouting the floor. I do this once every other year or so, but I'm hoping this is going to be the last time. And I'll show you. Our floor is this sort of sandy colour. Well, where I'm sitting on the shower, yeah, I'll come to that in a minute. Where I'm sitting on the shower is the sort of colour. So my grout is grey or white. So I mixed coffee in with it, and it's quite pleasant actually. It really smells of coffee in here at the moment. And I've got to wait for it all to dry, including all that bit down there that's not quite dried. And I did that yesterday. And then I can rub it off and then put a seal on it. Right. Let me explain. I did not intentionally buy this book, okay? Firstly, thank you very, very much to Absolutely Average, who conspired with my husband to buy a cheap copy behind my back and ship it out to Gibraltar, and I think it took months to get here. I don't know if he didn't post it until March, but it only just turned up. I think he posted it in January. Anyway, so then of course I've got to repay Absolutely Average for his postage and everything, but he got it really cheap. Thank you, Absolutely Average. I haven't read the whole thing, but this afternoon, this is why it's a later video, I've read from about page 200 right to the end. Basically, where Meghan came into his life. So I'm not going to read any of it out to you, don't worry. I'm just going to do a quick book review, really, of those last bits, you know. So, I mean, if I'm going to criticise him, I'll tell you what, this is one seriously emotional and damaged guy. I mean, Harry, oh my God. I know my husband, Graham, is not famed for being in touch with his feminine side, but oh my goodness, I mean, he's more emotional than a little girl in preschool, really. I actually lost count at about number 7 when he said, I came home and found Meghan had collapsed on the floor sobbing. Right, now, I'm trying to think in my lifetime, how many times in my life I've collapsed on the floor sobbing. I think like once, it happened once, and for a really weird, bizarre reason as well. It was actually a really nasty episode that happened at Dolphin Safari. You know, occasionally you get, oh, it's getting up now. Occasionally you get customers who can be seriously unpleasant. And this particular woman, I think she was a secret customer that had been hired by someone else, like, I don't know, maybe the competitors. And she was awful. She just ripped into me for about an hour. And every time I calmed her down, she came back at me. She was like a little 3.5 foot tall dragon in high heels with really long blonde hair. Anyway, I think that was the only time. And I don't think I collapsed to the ground. I think I just went home and poured a large whiskey and thought, you know, what the hell did I do to deserve that? But he goes on, you know, like, oh, the newspapers did a story about Meghan having black nail varnish. And I came home and I found her collapsed on the floor and sobbing. Or, I don't know, someone looked at Meghan sideways during the day while I was out busy cutting ribbons somewhere. And I came home and I found her collapsed on the floor. I mean, it just everything, every 5 minutes, the woman's collapsed sobbing on the floor. And what it did demonstrate to me, and I mean, this is the horse's mouth, isn't it? This is actually Harry himself. After having watched Whaaaah, Murky, Taz, all the YouTubers, after having read the occasional Daily Mail articles in the early stages, I've got to say, I'm more convinced than ever. Harry Windsor, if you're watching this, she played you like a fiddle. Ooh, oh my goodness. I don't know if the guy's intellectually challenged, but it's like, he's not worldly at all. Not at all. And reading the words about the way he says his dad and his father, his brother and his father were with him, and other people like, oh, what's the matter now? And he's like, they don't understand, they don't get it. And I think, I can see exactly, I can see the whole scenario, and it's from having read his own words. I haven't read any of his military service. I mean, what must his military colleagues think if they ever read the last couple of hundred pages on it? Oh my goodness. What a big girl's blouse. I mean, I can tell you now, with the kind of stress that we have in our family, and it might not look like it on YouTube, but we have stress in the background. The guy would be in tears all the time round here, especially with me. Oh, I've known people like him. Some of them have worked at Dolphin Safari, not for very long. And it's quite pressurised, because a lot of our customers, they sit in the queue cooking with the kids going, wah, wah, and Granny going, I need the toilet, how much longer are we going to be in the queue? And the guy's head's boiling. And by the time he gets to our office, he's missed the boat, and he's got all these screaming kids, and he's dead angry. And they just unleash it on us, which we're totally braced for. We know. We're fully sympathetic. And, but could Harry take that? Somebody else's problems like that? I don't think so, from the sound of reading that. My goodness, I mean, people work hard all year long to save up for a holiday, and it's really expensive, and every minute of their holiday is precious to them, and then they meet the queue at Gibraltar. Although we do tell them, best to park outside and walk in. Gibraltar's only about 3 miles long. But so we totally get it. And they do. I mean, normally they say, oh, I'm really sorry about that. And we're like, it's fine, you'll be fine. Once you get out on the boat, see the dolphins. And I read stories in the Daily Mail as well. I read one really sad one about a young man called Ben, 16, died in a hostel. It's absolutely tragic. Absolutely awful. And then I read this tits book. Honest to goodness. Oh, really? I begin to think he's special needs or something. There's something the matter with him. He's so emotional. What's wrong with him? And he talks about, he's so condescending about some things, like, oh, the boat was rusty, or oh, there was this photographer in scruffy shoes and clothes, or, oh, how can we cope without all the security, And I'm like, oh, grow up, Windsor. Grow up. Yeah, he really is like the fisherman's wife. I'm speechless over it, and even more gutted at the loss of £27. I do appreciate it, Average. I think what happened was Absolutely Average bought it for like a tenner or something. I think he got it on the black market. And he started reading it and he couldn't stop throwing up. So he palmed it off on me. Which was more than the book. Good grief. I mean, if this was even written, I know he had a ghostwriter, but it's almost like it's written by a girl. I'm one of the girliest girls. I'm wondering if Meghan wrote it, but I mean, I'm thinking no, because even Meghan can be that daft as to make herself look so bad, because honestly, she comes across really badly in this, really badly. It was just so glaringly obvious, and what's so sad is that the only person who can't see how manipulative she is, apparently, is this guy. Which is very, very sad. Very sad indeed. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you, and then I'll get back to my bathroom floor. I feel ever so slightly depressed, actually, having read that. Friday night. I might have a vino tonight, actually. I haven't had one of them in a while. As always, thoughts, opinions, and maybe see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening.